It's Thursday, it's March 7th, 2024. I am in the United States of America. There's a Federal Reserve. On the back is the ONE. This is part of the monetary system. It's currently in circulation on this date. These are the head figures on the system, which the family unit uses. So, this one is called George Washington, and he was both in historical context that they teach to the Americans. He was both a general and he was the first president of the United States. That's as far as the American history that needs to be spoken at the moment. This is Jackson, and this is the White House. Again, currency in circulation. Um, the flag of the United States of America is this. Space program used it. There's the "In God We Trust," which is written on the legal tender and the currency. It says right on it, "In God, in the God we trust," at the ONE. And there's whoever in the whatever in the security apparatus. So I have some real life concerns. I go into the public today, and um right now it is President Joseph Biden. He's the 46th president. Just previous to him was President Donald J. Trump. So I don't know the careers of these men. I know nothing about their executive function feature, or I know one represents either party. Again, I'm just functioning in the God we trust, in a monetary system in the United States of America, where I was born, as an RH sensitive with within an ABO. I sometimes write God, ONE, TWO, and then in separate context as the ELF, ELEVEN, and then today I added to that an EGO, for the E standing at European, not Emirate. For a very specific reason, because I'm not part of sport at all. I went to the local Home Depot today on surveillance camera, um, with my son, my father, and what I refer to at this point on this date as the Taurus, the American Taurus from 1975. And there's some ongoings coming in on the televised of some of the subway. Kathy Hochul's doing something there in the city that she's aware of as governor, as the honorable governor. Again, I know nothing about her party, what they have done over their careers. I've not been a part of any of them. Not Republican, not Democrat, just completely whatever in the whatever. Um, I went to physical therapy today, and I'm in this symbolic area. Now, this is what my language looks like. They call it, it's North American, but they call it English at some point. I mean, should we call it American? Maybe, but it's North American. there's 26 letters in my alphabet. That's important. But these are what the symbols of the script look like for where I was born, Rh sensitive, special blood group in Rh negative. It's a rare blood type. Then I go there today and I see this. I can't read this. This, whatever this is, these symbols are showing up more and more and do not fit the 26 letter script. That concerns me. Also, there seems to be a growing number of this population. I don't know who they are. I don't know where they're arriving from. They have at a US position, like if you're going to talk about the hyperbole of like wolf in sheep's clothing, there is someone who says that he is a US representative at the US Army level with the name Jaeyoon, which technically works in the 26 alphabet for symbols. However, there is genetic differences between he and I, but yet he's at this US Army position and I don't have direct lines of contact. I don't know how he got put into that position. But there's this going on, and I don't know where my secure family representative is at family unit within the United States of America government. So that's concerning. So I'm writing to Dear In God We Trust directly about some of the ongoings at the moment, but at different levels. Then there's this, so as I look through it, I notice these are not indigenous, like 48 states. This is like an outside, like the State Department usually handles this. I'm interior 48 to 50, depending on the conversation and with whom. But there's outside states that get handled by the security apparatus. What I'm unclear of is why so much of this is arriving. And this, for my interior, is a book technically of foreign agents. What do I do with this level of knowledge, knowing that they're participating in some business function and I don't know where the local security team is or how that's built or how I'm supposed to report in? Like, again, don't want to be labeled a heretic, don't want to be labeled blasphemous, don't want to be labeled like an enemy, don't know how the outside states that are visiting are working with the United States of America. I don't know how to stay safe in this conversation, but there's some real serious changes going on, and it's been problematic on my end. So Kathy Hochul puts the National Guard in, and I don't know what nationality she chose from. They say it's the New York National Guard. I'm like, I mean, I don't know whose National Guard it is, but it looks like the National Guard, the faces of the National Guard have been changing. Where do I report that level of God at the ONE in the In God We Trust? So this is what it looks like.
They say was behind that attack.
All of this coming as Governor Hochul deploys hundreds of...
And I just went to Home Depot on surveillance, like I said. And the faces of the consumers, again, I don't know if that's what that zip code and zone and district is allowed. I don't know if they have treaty with the United States, and because like they've got the UN, I don't even know what they do there. That's been concerning with some of the employment choices and like who's sitting at the table. I'm like, she doesn't even look like she represents the monetary system of the United States of America from east to west coast in the we the people and in God we trust. I mean, I get it's an umbrella that covers a lot of different levels, but at the management and making managerial conversations and future choices, there's some concern. Again, these are Federal Reserve notes. If there's a federation, this is the ego, or this is the face value of the functioning units. What I don't understand is why there's so much outside interference in the internal mechanics of the one of the 48 at the moment, but I see some of the other states have representatives from outside states there. So again, I don't know where that level of acceptability is and tolerance, and where it's um, gotten to a ratio that is at a threatening level. I'm sure somebody functions within the system that knows that correct answer. I'm just saying I know that it exists by observation. I just don't know who the responsible party is to address in a respectable manner. But here, again, they're using this symbol, and now, just not so long ago, there was a zero tolerance policy of allowing entry into the United States of America. And over 3 generations, I do not understand why that safe and tight security has been somehow put lax. It is of great concern at a like monetary value level and at face value level, and I don't know how to get to my interior mechanics on that. It says subway violence.
National Guard members into the transit system. Eyewitness News reporter Phil Tate has more on the controversy.
And again, I don't know whose children these are. Like, again, there's this talks of, I've heard since I was a child, if I was speaking to a child, what does wolf in sheep's clothing actually mean? Like, if, like, the mountain of Rainier is really dangerous according to Smithsonian, and if the moon is out and we're speaking lunacy, like, just only off chance with my at family values, where is that? Are they doing exterior work or are they doing interior work? And what happened to like a unified front? Because on all, like on multiple aspects of picture window, it is looking like air travel and airspace has lost some of their security feature and apparatus, and I don't know why. But that's concerning. At like, in God we trust, and I'm just watching at the picture window from a physical space inside the United States of America as like a concerned citizen.
Controversial new safety plan. Yeah, violence continues in our subway system as recent as this morning as a...
Now, reporting was never any genetic variation when I was younger. Now, all of a sudden, it seems very prevalent. What is going on with Federal Reserve and the Federation protecting and using their federal resources and children and in the garden of the 48? Why are there staffing concerns? Why is the staffing not taken more seriously and more structured for the protection of the family unit and the family value for this territory and this country? And why is a lot of this freelance showing up in
53-year-old man was stabbed in his hand, all spiraling from some form of a dispute. Well, it's incidents like this as to why Governor Hochul is laying out new efforts combating subway safety. 750 National Guard members deployed, plus 250 New York State
and again, here's New York State. Now, if these are the safety officers, which again, it's just this, what does New York look like? What does North America look like? This is not what North America looked like back in the 50s and 60s. It just wasn't. And now all of a sudden, I've got stuff like this, which is not even the script for this area. This is a book of foreign agents. Like, if this was a spy movie, or if I had a Hollywood director in front of me, I could tell them my real life story, and man, could we make a lot of money in Hollywood. But this is real life here. How does this even get a start? Why is this not shut down before it even has a beginning? So here's the end of this story.
Officers into the subway system. Yesterday at Grand Central Station, New Yorker saw a boost in law enforcement during rush hour. The NYPD.
Like, if people are working here and there's work contracts, again, that's a whole other set of conversations as to how that's going down with planning and responsible for custodial issues and whatnot. And I don't know who's handling that at the moment, but not even being included in that at this point, there's some real serious concerns, and I don't know who to speak to.
Also doing bag checks at 8 other stations. Governor Hochul this morning clearing up any concerns, saying the National Guard is there in a support function and not going through riders' bags. Safety still a top priority.
If you assault someone on the subways, you won't be on the subways. And a judge will now have the power to make sure that for at least 3 years, they'll have the ability to keep you off the subways. The MTA will work with the district attorneys and the NYPD to create a new early warning system for repeat offenders. We know who they are. They'll flag the criminal history at the time of arrest, so it can be fully considered when decisions regarding charging and bail are made.
And take a look at your screen as police continue to search for this suspect still on the loose after a 38-year-old Ford train.
Now, I see this, like, again, I don't know if these are authority challenges. I don't know if this is just like a happy walk down memory lane or like some new occurrence, because she's pointing here, and this woman's there. And now, is that like to represent like the Cherokee relationship with the Pilgrim relationship at Indians and Pilgrims and colonists? I don't really know, but it says democracy from space, and they seem really happy about it. I didn't get to that level of whatever. I'm at a different machine mechanic when we speak of space, which I don't speak of ever. So I have that going on with that kind of announcement. Then they go to a different type of aerospace, which is flight. And there are outside foreign nation persons that the FAA is allowing to fly aircraft now. I don't understand how that's possible. Like, how in safety apparatus are they keeping the interior of the United States of America safe from outside foreign invasion? Because when I look at the security feature and the security apparatus and how it's evolved and changed, it looks more dangerous now than we had in the, say, 50s when my grandmother and my parents were here. It looks more dangerous. And I don't know what the drivers have been from then until now. I don't. If there's conversations about tenancy and allowing visitors to, that's one level of conversation somewhere in the apparatus. But then there's this whole nother thing of what looks like invasion when they start to become really bossy and try to like upstage and up authorize the children of the Federation and of the face of the monetary. It's one thing to earn money, it's another to be part of that money family unit that has face value for a territory. Completely different set of circumstances. Now here, another one who's reporting. She does not look like a federal family member as the monetary has portrayed as the, like, almost the executive, the front office. The front office and the executive office looks very different than what lives and works and enjoys time and space throughout the lands that is handled by the security apparatus. I don't understand why the management team thus far, since I've arrived, has not been able to keep a fortified, unified front on the public image of the United States of America. It looks sloppy, and to the outside of our 48 states, looks like we're having security vulnerabilities, which is never allowed. So I don't understand why the staffing and employment of persons that work in television have become so sloppy. It is almost like asking for an attack, which I never want to have to live through. And here's her being so excited about this pilot from some black college. And I don't understand how the FAA even allowed this to happen.
Power was on full display at Newark Airport. An all-women United Airlines flight crew took to the skies this morning. The plane left for Sarasota, Florida, from Newark today. It's being dubbed a Women's History Month flight. In addition to the pilots,
This looks like children from a foreign nation, from another bloodline, challenging the United States of America each and every time they broadcast this. Who is answering to these challenges? This is unacceptable as a unified, fortified unit who has responsibility of safety apparatus within the interior.
the flight attendants and gate agents working were also women.
For the girls and the future generation, just knowing that it's possible for us, and just to be inspired and knowing that anything you want to do, just put your mind to it.
I love everything about flying. It gives me the flexibility to be a mother, as well as to be able to travel to different places. I love every aspect of the job.
Where is FAA? I was not given the availability to learn how to fly. I was not given an aviation career. I was not advanced to that level. I was not even offered that level of sophistication or opportunity. I don't know why. But somebody else was being offered and has now grown up thinking like it's an expectation and realistic career choice. And that only sends the future into more dangerous territory for North America because of the way these shifts in thought and action are going if somebody has access to projections, which I don't at the moment. I'm going to pause this for a second and go to another story. Now, signs from the area and the territory on Channel 7 is they have self-service lanes. So is this now, I mean, like, for me, I'm using this in a symbolic gesture that the robotics lab is now telling me that TSA has been compromised through staffing issues. And now I have to use the robotics lab and myself in order to self-check out what have they done with all of the money and tax revenue and all the spending, and what did the legislators do while I was being held in a series of rooms without access to even a level of lifestyle like that's even comprehensible, while all of it feels like the entire security apparatus was rearranged and dismantled. That's what it feels like from the picture window, which is really frightening.
In retail settings, but now self-service lanes could be coming to an airport near you. The TSA is testing a security checkpoint in Las Vegas where you never have to interact with an agent. If successful, it could be launched at airports all over the country. ABC's Ju Benitez was one of.
So how do you tell who belongs in the country and who does not belong in the country if it's all now on some self-service? It's the same thing I had a problem with back in the day before computers came out. I did not want just haphazard people entering New York or entering the United States of America. I didn't want to be frightened of being like, again, I've been slashed, I've had, and like, I've broken a bone. Like, I mean, there's injury that's been sustained. I've been hit with needles while I was out in public. There is some real serious security concerns. And I don't understand why the security apparatus is moving in the wrong direction for our territory based on who the authorities are.
One of the first travelers to try it out.
Okay, so I'm approaching the self-service screening lane, and this is the first time that I'm going to be using this, and there are a bunch of sensors all over, so that's the first thing you notice. But like so many of us, I've got questions. The TSA officers aren't gone here, they're just somewhere else. Since I don't know too much here, I'm going to hit need help.
Hello, may I assist you?
Hi, so this is my first time using this, so is there anything I need to know about my shoes or the bag?
Yes, so since you have pre-check, you may keep your shoes on, but make sure you grab one of the trays that are located next to you.
I send my bag through the scanner and put myself through one too.
Okay, so this is different. The scanner has all this glass here, so we're going to get in here. Oh, and it shows you that you have to stand differently. So here we go. So it's telling me, okay, there we go. You have to stand in a certain position. Okay, it's realizing that I have my microphone on. So I'm going to have to take the microphone off and do.
So here's now that the airlines are just haphazardly, I don't know how the airports are working, quite frankly. Again, there's somebody that I don't know who they are, but I'm not being given even local security information to protect myself, or an opportunity to even serve and protect, or to be integrated at all. Although, again, where heathens and heretics are concerned, I don't know if that's for my safety and security as part of my security apparatus, but there's some real, like, again, I just don't know. But here, body parts found for whatever's living in this section of the city that I don't even know how they arrived. I don't know whose children they are. I don't know how they arrived. I don't know who's sponsoring them, who's receiving tax credit. Like, I mean, like, again, however the interior security apparatus is, I don't know who the benefactors are, and I don't know whose children these are.
Body parts, this time inside an apartment in the Bronx.
And the NYPD is searching for a serial burglary suspect who pretends to be a priest and then takes off with cash from places of worship. Investigators.
He doesn't even look eligible to be a priest. That's what I don't understand. Again, he looks like a foreign Middle Eastern person. Why would they ever think he might be a priest? Like, there has to be a standard way for safety of recognizing. There's a reason why there's stereotypes. It's for the safety of, like, the mother and child. I mean, how do I teach my son what priests look like so if he sees an imposter, he can recognize that and report it to the correct authority? It's like almost every part of the security apparatus has been dismantled, and I don't know how to get it back. And I don't know why the persons are not performing in a more structured fashion. Now, for this particular cast, they use this gentleman for Channel 7 just for tonight as the weatherman. So I'm going to pause this for a second because this morning on a different station, I had a different weatherman. So now here, improve coordination between law enforcement and district attorneys is what they're reporting here from inside New York City. Governor Kathy Hochul's on here, and then it goes to Mayor Eric Adams, and then the chief of security for the subway systems. They have a message.
Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett is in downtown Brooklyn with the very latest on the governor's plan. NJ.
And right, Liz, we are about to see the largest deployment of police officers that the New York City transit system is seeing in more than a decade. And not just police officers, soldiers, hundreds of them. All of this part of the governor's sweeping plan to protect riders amid a rising tide of violent crime underground. So yes, you will see hundreds of NYPD officers and MTA police, state troopers, and members of the New York National Guard. They would be there mainly as a deterrent. The enhanced presence will be system-wide, I'm told. Crime is trending lower in recent weeks from a shocking surge in January. It was up 45%. But the governor says that does not ease the fear factor underground, despite the fact that crime has been inching lower. Her plan also calls for banning convicted violent criminals from transit, as well as installing surveillance cameras inside the conductor compartment, which is a blind spot right now. It might have solved last week's attack on a conductor. The governor says riders will feel safer with increased mental health outreach, and she's urging better coordination between prosecutors and police when it comes to recidivist offenders. The mayor applauded that today, but first, Governor Hochul.
I'm here to take action because that's what the situation requires. Railing off statistics, saying things are getting better, doesn't make you feel better. Especially when you've just heard about someone being slashed in the throat or thrown onto a subway tracks. There's a psychological impact. People worry they could be next.
It's not a crime surge we're experiencing. We're experiencing a recidivism surge. And until we stop that, our police are going to continue catching bad guys that will go out and do bad things to good people in this city.
All of these new measures will be phased in.
So that's going on there. I should also say, I know that this was specific to air, but shipping and what I call shipping and containment outside of the 48, like in between the 48 and the 50, if like interior is handled by like, I don't even know what level in the whatever for the monetary system, But then if anything water related is handled between the 48 and the 50 for a conversation, just if and only if, then this is a concern. Packages, because I'm on the East Coast. Their closest relative that I'm aware of is on the West Coast, the Pacific Coast. So how did this end up on the East Coast of the United States of America? That's what I don't understand. This morning they had something about a gray whale, which is a species from the Pacific, went through the Northwest Passage. But there's also food distribution that's been going into New York City having these symbols, and I don't know who they're distributing to. I don't know where it's arriving from. I don't know where the safety apparatus is on protecting the consumers. Where's my consumer protection part of the security apparatus? So all of these things are of concern. My son has come home with small candies and small snacks that he did not eat at school, and he brought home, and it had that packaging and lettering on it. Again, how do I protect him? How do I protect myself? Especially when the U.S. representative looks like a foreign national to me, and I have books of foreign agents actively practicing inside the United States, because that's what they call this. They call them real estate agents. And so these are foreign national agents inside the United States. I'm using, and then like I hear about these things with like galactic wars and like all this fictitious like whatever, and then all of a sudden today it dawns on me, I'm like, oh, I bought a piece of equipment that was from a retail store with consumer protection inside the United States of America. Whatever the label on it was, it said Galaxy on it. So I don't want to have a problem with my communications getting to my security apparatus. But there is some very serious problems since I bought the Galaxy with consumer protection. However, it was sold in this area. It was bought by me with pieces of my monetary system, with a piece of my monetary system for the one purchase. And I need to make sure that it's being handled properly. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.